Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen aboard this Boeing 747-400. We are at cold and dark right now here at Fresno Yosemite International. We're starting on the runway, which is unrealistic, but we're going to do that just for this test video for Fraps. So first thing we're going to do, hit the battery switch to on, standby power to auto, and fire up the APU. At the same time we're going to set our IRSs to nav so they can start lining up. You notice our hydraulics are all in off except for the number 4, which is in aux mode, preparing for the APU. We'll also make sure our window heat is on. Not sure why it dinged when that happened. I'm going to pull the auto start off because I like to start the aircraft manually. I'm going to arm the yaw dampers. They won't come online until our hydraulics are online. And we'll put our nav lights on so people see us on runway. You know, some of our displays are starting to spool up. We can actually go into our FMC and put in our position. Oops. Went too far. Current position. And we'll do it one more time because it didn't like that. There we go. Reference is KFAT. That's the airport we're currently at. Drop the yoke so it's out of the way. I have my own in front of me. And looks like our APU is online, so we're going to start on the APU generator 1 and APU generator 2. Hear the air conditioning kick on. Make sure we have our trim air for equipment cooling. And we'll turn the recirc valves on, gasper, and human control. Also got to put the beacon on this time because we're going to be starting our engines here in just a second. Our fuel is set to cut off at the moment since we're going to be not doing auto start. We won't need that. Pull my seat up here. And we're going to set this to 5,000 feet. We're just going to do some pattern work here, so we don't need to go very far. Set that to 5,000 feet. Now let's go ahead and start our engines. Kill 2 of the packs so we have enough pressurization. Continuous ignition set. And we'll start with not that one. Why did I foul? Turn these switches on. We'll start with engine number 3. Set parking brake while we're at it. Here we're seeing our N2 spool up and a little bit on the N1. When this gets to about 20, we'll go ahead and add fuel on engine number 3. And here we go. And now seeing our EGT rising, N1 spooling up, N2 spooling up, oil pressure building, oil temperature building. Vibration's okay, fuel flow. And the click means the starter is out, so we're going to go ahead and start engine number 4. Go ahead and start the hydraulic pump on number 3 now that it's running. We see we're starting to spool up on number 4. Fuel. Now the 747 technically can start 2 engines at once. I typically don't start the first 2 at once by themselves, but I will do the second 2 together. So engine 2, engine 1. And we WCN2 is starting to spool up on both those engines. And it starts. Kill the APU. Bring our 2 packs back online. Turn our strobe zones so we are on the runway. Taxi lights and landing lights. That rumble you heard was me accidentally actuating the reverse thrust. Whoops. We'll now go ahead and switch the auto start on. I'm going to leave the continued ignition on because we're going to be below 10,000 feet just doing pattern work. I want to make sure if we lose something we've got it set. Bring our lights on in the cabin. Normally I would have done this first. I'm not going to do a route. Before I started the engines, but it's okay. 150 is the cost I usually use. We're just going to 5,000 feet. And we're going to leave the regular things there. We're going to do a flaps 10 takeoff. Our V2 speed is 169. Our trim is 6.0, so let's go ahead and trim that out to 6. Looks about right. V2 is 169, so we're going to do 180 for our food, which is roughly V2 plus 10. Let's test our TCAS here.
TCAS system test OK.
Alright, we'll turn TCAS on now. We're going to leave it at 1200. We're flying VFR, which is unusual for a 747. Go ahead and put our flaps down to 10. And we'll set RTO, lock the cockpit door. No smoking and seatbelt lights are on. Upper panel is set. Testing flight controls here. Make sure we're working. Flight controls are good. Switch back to engine. Alright, we're going to leave the autopilot off for the most part, for everything, including takeoff roll, takeoff go around. We're not going to use a toggle switch. We're just going to do this manually. So watching for this green line right here is what we want to spool up to. So go ahead, release the brakes. Running lights already on. I just realized my throttle quadrant is missing 2 of its handles here, so there we go. Alright, so we're going to run up the engines to roughly 50% N1 to stabilize. Stabilize, and we'll set takeoff power. set.
80 knots.
80 knots, check.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Positive rate, gear up. We are flying. Flaps 5. Flaps 1. Normally at this stage we would be setting climb thrust and climbing to our altitude, but today we're doing pattern work, so I'm pulling thrust back so we don't overspeed the aircraft. Flaps up. Here, there is the airport we just left. And we are going to be coming around to land on 11 left. 11 left does not have ILS. It does have back course from 29 right. But we're not going to be using it today. We're going to do it visually, which is the fun way to fly, in my opinion. If you're familiar with Fresno area at all, you'll know this is the San Joaquin River right here, which right now this time of year is probably very empty because we're having a very dry year. And while we're setting up for this, I'm going to pull the auto brakes to 1. Crossing over San Joaquin River. This is Freeway 41. That's Madera out there in the distance. Fighting with my mic here at the same time. Every time I turn my head, it's distracting me. Alright, we're going to start our base leg here. We'll start to descend. Pull the power back a little bit. shut up. That's just the altitude alert because we had set 5,000 and we're descending below that. So it's just letting me know that it thinks I'm doing something wrong. Set flaps 1. While we're doing this, set our VREF speed here. There's Sierra Sky Park. And there's the runway, which we're a little below glide slope at the moment. Altitude call out. Turned a little wide there. Flaps 5. Flaps 10. And gear down. Flaps 20. Spoilers armed. Flaps 25. Flaps 30. Alright, flaps are set. Spoilers are armed. Auto brakes 1. Landing checklist complete. On gear down.
1,000.
1,000 to go.
Traffic.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Oh, they've switched runways on me apparently.
Don't sink. Don't sink. 500. Don't sink.
Trying to get back on the glide path here, that's why it's yelling at me, don't sink. My rate of descent is pretty high.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. 300. 200. Sink rate. 100. Approaching minimums. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And we're down. Gauge reverse. Still the reversers. Do manual braking all the way down. Motors came back up like they're supposed to. Turn off on this taxiway here. Wasn't the best landing in the world, but not bad for not flying the 47 for a while. Set the parking brake. Alright, so I'm not going to taxi all the way back to the gate. I'm just going to stop it here because I can. It's a flight simulator. But at this point, we would bring our flaps back up. We would turn off the auto brakes. Landing lights off. Taxi lights would remain on until we were at the gate. We're off the runway, so we'll turn off the strobes. Fire up the APU again, so we have power once we set off all the engines. And I hope you enjoyed this short little flight here at Fresno Airport. This is my home airport. Just a test video, like I said. This isn't indicative of normally what I do, but I hope to be making some more videos of actual flights, both as a way of kind of showing off the aircrafts, but also showing how to fly them and how the systems work. Today we just was a very simple flight. So flaps are just about up. The flaps on the 747, the PMDG one take quite a bit of time, as they are in real life, which is cool. I like realism. And our APU should be just about fired up. In fact, it is now, so we're going to click on the APU, and that will take over the buses. Switch to the aux over there. Parking brake set. And we'll kill the engines. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All spooling down nicely. Turn off the taxi lights since we're not going to taxi in. Set the hydraulic pumps to off and turn off the engine pumps. Kill the yaw damper and the window heat. Make sure we put the hair on for the cooling for the equipment. And the engines are off now, so we'll turn the beacon off. And that's it.